to your Bootle FC podcast. For the fans, by the fans.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to the first ever Bootle FC Bucks podcast. I'm your host today, Neil Blythe, and with me is Paul Osborne. Paul, you okay?
Yeah, brilliant, thanks.
We're going to, basically what we'll do, we're going to get this podcast, it's the first time we've done this, and over the next couple of weeks, months, we're going to talk about basically all things Bootle. But we just wanted to give you a little bit of an insight about, so you know when you are listening to this, basically who myself and Paul are. Probably not interested, but we're going to do it anyway. So we're just going to be, myself and Paul have been watching Bootle for, what is it, just on 2 years?
2 years,
something like that.
Yeah.
Yet. So not a huge amount of time, but just tell the listeners, Paul, where it begin. You know, when did you get involved with the first game for yourself, and how did you get hooked?
Well, I have watched a couple of games on and off over the years, but it was just nothing. You know, it was just a spare of the moment thing. People saying, "Oh, Bootle are playing tonight" or whatever, and then we went to Penistone Church, didn't we?
Yeah, in the FA Cup.
In the FA Cup, yeah. We got Phil Stafford was in charge, and we said, "Yeah, we'll go there on a train." Basically, just
didn't know anyone really.
No, we didn't, did we? And it was a pint and just a train there, and it was brilliant, wasn't it? The sun was shining.
Despite the result, yeah, it was a
well, we got beat 2-1, wasn't it? But that was the start of it for me. I started coming and have a little look every time Everton weren't playing, because obviously it was Everton season ticket holder, me and my lads, and obviously you and your lads sat in front of us, didn't you? So
yeah, I think I remember like sort of going back a little bit before that, and me and Paul worked together, and it was like, "Do you fancy coming to watch Bootle tonight?" And it was basically we didn't really bother who was playing. We didn't really, but it could have been anyone out there. But for us, it was just a couple of pints after work, and that's how it began. And then you get a little bit more interested, and then a little bit more interested, and then you find yourself going, instead of going once every
knowing
6,
the names
7, 8
of players,
weeks, yeah, stuff like that. It did, didn't it? And then it just grabbed us sort of thing into the fact that last season we give our season tickets up at Everton, and people might say, "Oh, that's because Everton was shite." That wasn't the case, because when we
don't know.
No, when we give our season tickets up, Everton had gone on a run and beat Man United, Chelsea, and Arsenal. So going into the season, but we had a choice basically, and we got that much involved in coming to watch Bootle, and it wasn't. It's a great day. It is. It's a brilliant day, and anyone who hasn't sort of been and got involved, I cannot believe sitting here that how much it sort of means to me now and yourself. And every week we're talking about it every single day, like we used to do when we used to go and watch Everton.
And that's the difference between this level, I think, and Premier League. You go the Premier League and it's just money, isn't it?
Yeah, the fans compared to the players, they're so
you're
far.
Wanted here, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're really wanted. You're looked after, and you're appreciated. That was the word I was looking for. Appreciated at the end of the day. Whereas if you don't go, if I didn't renew my season ticket, which I never this year,
someone else will.
Just took it, haven't they? So we don't really matter there, do we?
No.
And we matter here. Well, we felt like we mattered here, and that's what counts.
No, but it is. But the whole day, I mean, from going the home games and going the away games on the coach, and everyone's singing, especially when you've had a win. You can't beat it, and the standard of football is what's probably surprised me more than anything.
Easily, and watching a team win for a change. Yeah. If we get into that, or are we swerving that bit?
We'll swerve that
yeah, it was. I think in the middle of that season, it wasn't even the middle of the season, was it? It was towards October.
When Joe came back.
Yeah, we were still coming, weren't we? But it was.
If Everton and football.
If Everton were playing, we went to Everton, didn't we?
Yeah.
And, I think the start of that, we were still season ticket holders, but we were coming here. October, Joe took over, and Joe will tell you more about that later on because he's going to join us. But it got to the point where they kept winning, and we didn't want to miss.
We didn't miss
winning.
One. No,
do you know what I mean?
I remember going to we went to Squires Gate, I think it was, and I think you booked to go and going, watch Everton play Fulham. We were going
No,
for the league.
do you know what that was? It was Charnock.
Was it Charnock? Yeah, it was Charnock. I was getting mixed up with them. It was Charnock.
My brother-in-law took me place, actually, so
Yeah. And
I went to watch
I remember, I think Everton were getting beat. We getting beat 3-0 after about 20 minutes.
No, I think it was 2-0.
Yeah.
And I got off. I got this. I think I was on the train for 5 o'clock back from London.
Trying to get back to Charnock.
I didn't make it there, but I
No.
got back to Neddy and I bumped into everyone. It wasn't my finest night. I got the back ripped out of me all night there. So yeah. I think did Bootle win 5-0 as well?
5-0, yeah. They were
I think that was the
fantastic
15th game on the way up to 21 or something on the
I
bounce.
think coming off the pitch that day as well, I think City and Liverpool had drew against someone you'd expect them to beat. So that gap was sort of closing and closing. And for me personally, I remember going to Abbey Hay. It wasn't, they were bottom of the league. And it must have been the start of the run, so we probably only won about 2 or 3 on it, but maybe a few more. But I think we were 14 points behind them at the time. And no one was really sort of, it got mentioned, because I think it got mentioned because we were 14 points behind, but we had a game in hand and we had to play them. So we were sort of banking on winning them too, and you think, okay, that takes it down to 8. And if you remember the game, Abbey were bottom of the league. I think they had about 6 points. They had won 1 all season or something like that, and so there were a couple really struggling. And they were 1-0 up against us, and we got back into the game. I think we scored a penalty. I think Liam Loughlin scored a penalty with about 20 minutes to go to make it 1-1. And then we made it 2-1 with about 5 minutes to go, and you thought, God, we've been awful here, but we've got through it. And then they scored on about 90 minutes, didn't they? If you remember, it's terrible day. It was freezing cold, even down the drain.
Down, wasn't it?
And they scored on 90 minutes, and you thought, because we had to win every game, we couldn't afford to slip up to even push City Liverpool close. And then Kieran Halligan scored on about the 93rd minute, didn't he? And the atmosphere and for me, that was the first day where I thought, maybe, just maybe, we could, do something special here.
Is that the one where you went on the pitch? Are we not allowed to mention that?
No.
We're not allowed to mention
I went near the pitch.
I think you were on the top of the pile, one of the players in the
Like Eddie Cavani. No, but I remember that day thinking, God, I can't believe this, how much I'm getting into it. And you start thinking, when's the next match? And you start going into work, and we both work shifts, and you start looking at your diary and work, and you're thinking, well, I need to get leave there because we're playing, Charnock there, and we're playing Congleton there, Runcorn there, sort of thing. And your whole life starts sort of, revolving around Bootle, doesn't it?
So that was basically on that, people will know about that 21 game. Not unbeaten, it was 21 wins,
yeah.
Which is amazing. But just going back before that and speaking about getting involved in the club, we were here, 2 or 3 games before we met, because we were basically on our own, weren't we?
Yeah.
We didn't know who to speak to, and we thought, there's a gang of like 30, wasn't there, who seemed to be
Ultras.
Well, not ultras or whatever, because we know them now, we're part of it.
Yeah,
but,
ultras.
we met them. I can't even remember what games. I was trying to think of what game we was doing.
We found I know exactly what you're saying there, and it's right, but we found ourselves in that position lately. We've had young Jordan and Tierney, his girlfriend, and he's bought a mate with him.
Oh, there's been an influx,
and he sort of, he got involved, sort of thing, didn't he? We've saying, come and get involved in us. It's one big sort of.
But
it's not groups of fans and then another group and then another group and another group.
What I was trying to get to was that as soon as one of them said,
made the move, like sort of thing, yeah.
Where are you going? They'd seen us at a couple of games. We're going here on the coach next week. Are you coming with us? Come on, you're more than welcome. And bang, people are buying you pints. People are inviting you here. People are not you. It's just you. That, to be honest with you, I think they just swerve you. But certainly, from my end, they were getting me in their rounds and things like that. But
something to look at,
and the involvement there was sort of
just make you feel part of it, doesn't it?
And you want to come.
Yeah.
Getting to the likes of the crowd and where it was at that point, we weren't aware, were we? We weren't aware of attendances or
no, because we weren't probably
like
that much interested in it.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah, but it's become noticeable. It becomes noticeable.
I think definitely when we have looked back at sort of to see what the crowds that were getting out of the crowds then, and there was sort of, I think it fluctuated from about 100 to 130, something like that. Now it's going from, our lowest attendances are probably around about 180, and it's hitting sort of 250 sort of average sort of thing. But we spoke about this ourselves, and it's mad that there isn't double that, isn't it?
Yeah, so especially in the local area where we are in Bootle, population of 100k, do you know what I mean? We should be getting a lot more people here, and I think it's only by people not knowing, really. What do you think?
I think you're right, because it's if we're at home on a Saturday, I usually get a cab down here, and I'll say to the taxi driver, like, Bootle FC, and he's like, where's that? Doesn't know where it is, doesn't know what it is, sort of thing. But that's the thing, isn't it? It's you know, is the coverage big enough from outside? I don't know. But listen, all I can say is it's something that I never thought I'd be doing sort of 2 years ago, would be coming here to watch this every week, home and away, not just popping down once a month or something like that, home and away, watching the team and having a real affection for the team. And you know, we haven't, since we've been coming, our record has been fantastic, sort of thing. We haven't seen us lose too many, but it hurts when you lose, and that's how much it's sort of, you know, got us, sort of thing, hasn't it? So, I mean, all I can say to people is come and give it a go, and I promise you won't regret it. If you're interested, the next home game is Aston Athletic. It's 3 o'clock on Saturday the 1st of February. We've got 2 away games coming up just before them. It costs nothing for your kids to come in if they're with an adult, they're under 16. There's pool tables, there's darts, there's 2 5-a-side football pitches, one 5-a-side, one 7-a-side, which on a Saturday afternoon the kids can go in the cages there and play football, and it's safe. There's only one way out of it, sort of thing. So it's all safe environment for the kids to play while you're watching the football, and you'll love it. I promise you'll love it. And if you do come and say hello to us. We don't want someone to come down and say, oh yeah, I went to hospital 3 times and no one even spoke to me. So come and say hello. You know, if you want to contact us before you come, get in touch with us through either the Twitter, which is Bootle FC Books, or on the YouTube channel. So give it a go. 3 o'clock, Saturday the 1st of February. You can still get your Premier League football before and after, if that's on, because we have Sky, BT, what else is it? Amazon. What else is it on these days?
We've got
Netflix,
a lot here, haven't
all
we? So
stuff
we
like
have
that,
got a lot here, so it's all here for everyone. And you know, there's our fan that we've got a real broad spectrum. You know, there's the girls, there's kids, there's not just the fellas. You know what I mean? It's not just aimed at. It's a family orientated club, and the facilities reflect.
Yeah,
so we were trying to entice. You know what I mean? It's the whole lot here.
Yeah, brilliant. So just before we leave, we want to thank you all again for listening. And as I say, if you do want to get in contact with us, then you can do that at Bootle FC Books on Twitter. Sorry, correction. It's Bootle Books TV. That's right, isn't it?
That's
at
the
Bootle
YouTube.
Books
The
TV.
YouTube is
Yeah.
Bootle Books TV.
Yeah.
Not much going on there at the minute. We've only just set that up, but that basically is going to be for the fans' interviews. So we've been talking to the players and the manager after the post game and pre game if we can get them, and it's been pretty successful on Twitter. So
yeah, we've got a little something planned for tomorrow. After tomorrow's game, hopefully we can grab a couple of the lads and something going out there. Yeah, but as you say, if you have it, Luke's End, Saturday the 1st of February. Bootle FC. If you don't even know where it is, we should just mention that if somebody don't know where it is. Bridle Road, Vestey Road, and we're up there at the top by, a lot of people might know it by the kids' Crazy Town, isn't it, next door?
Yeah.
You can even throw the kids in there. You can go and watch the footy.
You're not suggesting that, really, are you?
No,
joke?
sure,
Okay.
no. So thanks for joining us, and we'll speak again soon. Thanks for listening. So without further ado, we're joined by current first team manager Joe Doran. Joe, thanks for joining us.
No problem.
We will get straight into it. Basically, we want to talk about your career in football and where it all began, basically.
Well, obviously, as a kid, like most people did, I played football in school. I like obviously Sunday league teams and that. And then when I was about 13, I got picked up by. I got into Sefton Boys. Got picked up for Oldham Athletic, who were in the Premiership at the time. And then on my 14th birthday, I got given a 6-year contract. 2 year schoolboy, 2 year YTS and 2 year pro.
That's unusual, isn't it? I don't think they give them out anymore like that.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think at the time, I think it was like 94, 95. I think Joe Royle might have been the manager at the time, and yeah, Oldham at the time were the one season that they were in the Premiership, I think it was. And then obviously by the time I'd gone into the, by the time I'd gone into do me YTS, I think they were in what's now League One, so a couple of demotions and that. But I played for Sefton Boys, I played for Merseyside Boys when I was under 16. I went for England trials when under 15s, and like I played must have been about 30 or 40 games in the Resis over a 3-year period at Oldham. But then when I got to that 19-year-old age, I probably hit a bit of a glass ceiling. It's probably unlucky. I mean, like a lot of players do. And my confidence was a bit shot, so stepped out of the game completely. Played about 4 or 5 games for Bootle when I first left Oldham. I was like 19, but then pretty soon my confidence was shot, and I sort of like stepped out of football altogether. Started playing, games with my mates and that in like the local leagues, and some of my mates were pulling me to one side saying, "Why are you so rubbish at football these days? Like, the last time we seen you were 16 and you were good line, and now you're 19 and like you're trying to take people on and you can't control the ball and stuff like that." So I sort of like took a bit of time out, and then I probably got, when I was about 21, 22, about 2 years later, I signed for Newton over the water because I got a job in the civil service, and a work colleague who used to play for Bootle, Billy Knowles, he knew I'd obviously been a decent player in that when I was a kid, so he just emailed me saying, "Do you want to come over to Newton?" And I just thought, I'll give it a go. So I went to Newton and got there about December time, and I think I scored something like 10 goals in 18 games, and we won the league. That was in the West Cheshire First Division, so like some good players played in that team, like Joey Gibb, Tony Gray, and Lee Fairlong. So so we won the league, and then unfortunately Newton couldn't get promoted into the North West Counties because the ground wasn't good enough. So Camel Aids got promoted in this space, and obviously Camel Aids went on to break all sorts of records in the North West Counties. So we definitely had a good side at Newton. Yeah.
Did that give you the love for football back then? That you'd lost, at the time.
I just think I don't think I've ever lost the love for football. I just fell out of love with myself playing football, to be honest. So because as I was going through the schools and that, like the trials and that, I don't ever remember a time apart from the England trials when I was 15 where I got to a trial and someone said, "No, you're not good enough to go through." Yeah, when I was just about to start, I think it was about May, June time, I got called up to the trials for Great Britain Catholic schools, and I'd done one, and it was in July and August, a tournament in Portugal, with like Brazil and Portugal and Argentina, all the Roman Catholic countries. And I remember my granddad saying to me at the end of the trial, "You need to speak to the manager, because obviously this tournament's in end of July, start of August, and you start your YTS on the 5th of July. So basically this was like the North West Regional trial. Spoke to him afterwards, and he said, "Listen," he said, "I'm telling you now," he said, "I'm the manager of the Great Britain Catholic school teams. If you commit to coming now," he said, "obviously because there's a North trial and then a full national trial, you're in the squad, 21-man squad, you're coming." So I went back to Oldham then and obviously said, "Listen, I've been selected for Great British Catholic schools to play in Portugal," thinking that they'd be pleased, and they were like, "When is it?" And I was like, "End of July, start of August." And they basically turned around and said, "We think it'll hinder your development in pre-season." So I had to phone the Great Britain Catholic schools manager and basically say I had to decline. But looking back, that's probably my biggest regret, to be honest, because
not going,
yeah, because there was that year, obviously Brazil, there's a few anti-players there. I mean, I'm not going to name who they were, not like that, but obviously there was a few good players that you
might have come up against.
Yeah, could have done, yeah. So, yeah. But then I enjoyed my time at Oldham the first couple of seasons doing my YTS, but then when I got to my third year, I think in my second year YTS I was squad number 20, and my mate and the only other lad who got kept on in my age were like squad numbers 18 and 19, and then the following season, or the following 2 seasons, sorry, so like 2 seasons after that, the season that I basically left them, I was squad number 39, and basically in between every single position there was an experienced football league player.
So the writing was on the wall there.
Yeah, because basically the club got taken over and then went into administration. So as soon as it went into administration, I got my contract paid up to me, and and left. And came home.
Is all this youth football that you're talking about now, are you playing attacking positions? Because I know you never played that for Bootle, did you?
Yeah. I played...
I thought that was impressive when he scored 10 and 18 from fullback.
And I'm thinking, is he right back here for
I played, like my first season for Bootle, I played left mid. I scored 21 in 28 games. I was second leading goal scorer. Eamon Price scored 28 and 28. He went on to play for Prescott Cables. He's one of my best mates. But we were playing for, like me, Jamie A, Robin Miles, John McBride, John Curry, all went from, and Eamon Price, all went from Sacré-Cœur, old boys in the Zingari League. Right, like they went, I mean, they played more for Sacré-Cœur, like, but they went, right, they got third in the Liverpool County Prem, and in the season after, I persuaded them all to come to Bootle when we were at the civil service, when Chris O'Brien had just took over, and obviously we came down, I think we finished third in the County Com, which wasn't bad because there were two really good sides, as Speaker won the league, who had a brilliant side, and like been together for years, and obviously Waterloo Dock came second, who were brilliant as well. So yeah, but I was mainly I started off as a centre midfielder, and then because I was scoring goals, I got put up front. But I was never clinical enough. I didn't enjoy scoring goals enough to be a centre forward, so I got moved to either flank, where I wasn't really a winger. I could take people on. I was fast as well.
I only said that because I've watched 2 YouTube clips which have been put on like a fans group.
Facebook, yeah.
There was one off your school where you played up front, and I think you scored 4 goals or whatever. And the next one I've seen is you playing right back. So I'm thinking,
you can get shoved back as you get older, though, don't you? It tends to be the way.
Well, yeah, to be honest, I mean, in the school I played left mid in the school, but I basically just played on the shoulder of the right back and used to just start in. I actually got a phone call a few weeks ago about a fella who's doing a report on the Liverpool Echo under 14s Cup, and he basically said there's only 2 records, or obviously they record who wins it and who's runner up, but there's only 2 player records that they keep. People that scored in every round of the competition, and people who scored a hat-trick in the final, and my name is the only name that's on both. So he said, is it alright if you do if I do a little piece on you? And I was like, yeah, no problem. So I told him what I talked him through all my goals in every round and stuff like that.
Don't talk us through all your goals here, because we've only got about an hour on the show.
No, yeah, of course, yeah.
But that was your playing career sort of thing. Where did Bootle fit into that then?
Well, yeah. So obviously I went over to Newton to sort of get me, because I think playing with my mates, as good as it was, and like obviously we're all my mates in that, and obviously playing for Bootle, as good as it is, at the time I just wanted to get away. So I didn't want to be around people that are sort of ungrounded of a daytime, because obviously they knew me from before, and obviously didn't want to play for Bootle, because obviously for me playing for Bootle is one of the best things you can do. Obviously, you know, being a supporter of the club all my life. So I went away for 6 months with Newton, and then obviously spoke to my granddad and that about, you know, what I should do the season after, and he suggested that I should go down to Marine Reserves and have a go there. And I was doing well for Marine Reserves. Like George Proctor was the manager, Rowley Howard was the first team manager. I mean, I'd never got anywhere near the first team, because in the end, after about 6 or 7 games, my granddad spoke to Rowley and said, you know, how do you think Carl Joseph's doing in the Resis and that? Because they played midweek at the time, Friday nights or Thursdays. So I played for Bootle on a Saturday and played for them midweek. And he basically said, no, he's too small.
Where is your granddad at this point, Joe? Is he... I mean, I suppose we should mention that we're talking about Frank Toran Senior here, who was like a Bootle legend, but is he manager then?
At Bootle?
Yeah.
No, so basically when I came back from Oldham, John was manager, Dave Marley Senior was manager for a bit, but he probably got a bit of the short straw, because you know, at the time, you know, we were in between grounds. You know, the club was, you know, I wouldn't say close to extinction, but it could have got ropey a bit, because obviously once Sefton Council had sold our old ground, and then we moved to Kirkby Stadium, and then that got made derelict, we had to go into the County Com and play local parks football. So, you know, maintaining a high level of standard of player was difficult. So Dave Marley's youth team got thrown into the deep end, really, and he'd done a sterling job basically playing against men with kids. And then I think at the time we approached Carl Bailey, who was running a quite successful Sunday League team at the time called Seaburn. Obviously, like of Jamie A and Neil McQueen and Staffo all played for Caldale, Craig Kelly, people like that. And then he came in, and before a ball was kicked, he packed in, and his assistant manager Chris O'Brien took over. So my first season under Chris O'Brien was like in the County Com, I think it was 04-05, like proper full season.
One of the questions we had there was who's been an influence on your career, and although we didn't ask that question, your granddad's name's popped up. You've mentioned him 2 or 3 times. He must have been a major influence on it.
Yeah,
and probably still is now.
Yeah, massive. I think, obviously growing up in that, I think it was our John that took me to my first footy team. He took me down to St James's Church, and I played in the Brunny, the Brunswick Boys Club. That was a year above me. The likes of Steve McNulty and Peter Kavanagh played in that team. Steve McNulty was a year below me, and he played every week. And Peter Kavanagh was centre mid, a year above me. And obviously Peter Kavanagh went on to have a professional career, and obviously Steve McNulty, you all know Steve McNulty. So
good player.
So, still playing now.
Good player.
Yeah, and then from there, like obviously my granddad used to come watch every school game. Never mind all the Sefton games, and so if we had a school game at Brook Vale,
if you're bunking off work to be there,
he'd be there. Do you know what I mean? Watching. So yeah, massive influence.
That's your playing career sort of covered. What stage of that career and what age did you realise maybe that coaching and managing was it something you wanted to do, or was it just sort of thrown on your toes at some stage?
I can only remember ever wanting to be a manager more than being a player, to be honest. That's the only thing I've ever thought about. I actually got interviewed when I was 23 for the programme that the programme had done at the time, and he said, "Where will you be in 10 years' time?" And I said, "Be managing Bootle." So I think I was.
And did he laugh at you?
He laughed at me at the time, yeah. But I mean, to be honest, like all through me, I've been not outspoken, but I think I understand the game well. I read the game well, even as a young kid. I think there was lots of times where, more senior players or even the manager or the coaching staff, I would give my opinion. I wasn't scared to give it. And I think as a kid, I played all the games, champ manager, football manager, everything. If someone said to me, do you want to, when I was like 13, 14, do you want to go, like the way I seen it was, go out and play football, play champ manager, and at a push, play FIFA 94 on the Mega Drive. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I was. So I think I've always been destined to be a manager, and I think I always will be.
So you came back to Bootle in 2005, Joe, as a player. What's your memories from that time at the club?
Well, at the time we were going through a massive period of transition. Obviously, because we got our new ground in 2006. We started playing football pretty soon. So I can remember my granddad, Frank, our John, Bobby, Ben Roberts, all being up here when it was like just a flat field, and there was nothing there at all, really. I've actually got like a little video on YouTube where like a collage of all pictures and that I put together. So I'll stick that on the link so people want to have a look at it, because it just demonstrates the massive amount of change that's gone on since 2006 when we got our new ground, right up to now. Obviously, with two fully licensed bars, 2 small-sided AstroTurf pitches, and like obviously, and the main difference for me is obviously like a buzzing supporters club, and sort of eagerly anticipated. The support we get now is like, it's unreal compared to, it's chalk and cheese. When we go back to like 2006, I remember 2006 when we first got back to the North West Counties, we played Flixton away on the first round FA Cup. So I put a thing in the paper saying, if anyone wants to come on the coach, it's £5. And the only person that turned up on the day was Charlie Whelan and his son. So when we arrived at Flixton, he basically came down and said, here's our £10. And I just said to him, don't worry about it, it's all right. And I think
we'll get him off that tomorrow.
I think we give him a pass. I think we give him a pass as well to get in for nothing. So, but it worked out great, because
and he's been hooked for life.
With Charlie will still have that fiver, to be honest.
It worked out. It worked out brilliantly, really, because a few years ago when Merseyrail approached us to set up the ladies' club, they brought Charlie in as almost like a character witness for me to say, we know you like Bootle and that, and you go and watch them sometimes. What you find, what you make of the club. And Joe and Charlie told that story, that And obviously I never really thought about it, but it was only when he was telling it I thought, you know, it's a good thing to look back on. And obviously he's been ever since now, like doing the videos and that, which is brilliant.
You were talking about, you know, you'd always seen yourself as a manager, and you said you were interviewed at 23. Was there other opportunities for you to get involved before you actually did?
Become a manager? Yeah. So obviously I wanted to play as long as I could, but I got to like 24, 25, and this turns back to like the winger / fullback thing. Got to like 23. I'd done the marathon when I was in 2005 as well. So basically overnight only.
Just done another one in before we started there, didn't you?
Snickers them now. I'd done the marathon in 2005, and overnight basically my pace went. So I couldn't sort of, and the fact that I was obviously drinking more and going out more, and eating more, and doing an office job for 2 years. But so pretty soon, my goal return started getting less. So I'd start work as hard as I could. So I had to like think to myself, what do I want to do? Because up to about 23, I was probably like a lazy winger, if I'm being honest, who could score goals. And I sort of had to, if I wanted to carry on playing for Bootle, I had to readjust quickly. So I decided I was going to do that because there was no other club that I wanted to play for at the time. And I readjusted, and then I used to go left back now and again, or left wing back when we were struggling. And I spotted the gap at right back, and I thought, if I just sort me defend, if I just make sure no one skins me, I'll be all right there because I'll keep the ball all the time. So I moved to right back and ended up playing like the season we won the league. I think I played 46 out of 48 games at right back, so I was really pleased with that. And obviously, you know, that took me right through. I think once we went up a league and I was like then 27, 28, I think that's the time when I think Obi thought that my days were numbered in terms of you need to be a little bit faster at full back. So then obviously he told me that there was surplus to requirements playing. So I went and I became assistant manager to Michael Joyce at South Sefton Borough in the County Com, and I really enjoyed it. Done all the coaching, done the full pre-season and all that, and we got off to a flying start. I think we won 6 out of 7 games. We were absolutely flying, and then work commitments and that from Joyce's point of view, he couldn't commit the time that he wanted to, and it just coincided with the 5-a-sides being built here up at the club in 2010. So Arthur Kumsky offered me the job at South Sefton because the 5-a-sides had started here, and I was working at the club making sure that they were full, the 5-a-sides. I had to knock them back, unfortunately, and then obviously about a year later we were struggling for numbers, and Obi asked me to sign on because I was playing on a 5-a-sides 3 nights a week and getting my fitness back up and that. So he asked me to sign back on. Played about 12-15 games. I've done quite well, to be honest. And then because I was playing on the AstroTurf so much, I done me Achilles in. I basically kept playing even though I was in pain, because I'd play a game and then it'd be absolutely killing me one day, and then the second day it'd be fine. So I just kept playing because I obviously didn't want to stop. And in the end I got referred to the hospital, and they said basically you need to stop playing until the pain goes, and the pain didn't go for 2.5 years. So yeah, that was it. Till 29, stopped playing.
You knew you were done then.
Yeah.
So eventually, the job you always wanted to be Bootle's manager. How did that come about then?
Well, originally when Obi left or got sacked, I applied for the job. Then I declared an interest sort of as soon as it was done, basically saying, because I think at the time on the committee, a few committee members sort of had in mind who they wanted to take over, and it weren't me. And they wanted to just approach the person that they wanted to give the job to.
Do you think that was an age thing? No. Do you think people looked at it and thought maybe?
No, because the person that they wanted to give the job to was the same age as me.
Okay.
So it wasn't. So, but I persuaded them to go out to application because we might get a good caliber manager, and we did. We did get a good caliber manager. But I think for where we were at a club, where we were as a club at the time, I think being familiar to the committee and to the club was massive. So therefore, like obviously myself, Paul Byrne, who was captain of the team at the time, and Neil Prince, who'd played for about 6 or 7 months prior, got down to the last 3, and obviously Neil Prince got the job. I think I lost 6-5 on the vote. But yeah.
So it's, if at first you don't succeed, try again.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, it wasn't too long afterwards. I started doing obviously I knew I wanted to get into management, and I needed something to do, so I took the reserve team that played in the Lancashire League, with a view to sort of making it like a little project and building up. So obviously, you know, we came second or third that season, and we wanted to win the league. Obviously, Neil expected to win the league, and we expected him to win the league as well. So we know, you know, that for a club of our size at that level, it's imperative that you produce your own players, because what you don't want to do is get into the vicious circle of bringing Evo stick players in who've done the rounds and then sort of demanding massive expenses and all that. You need to bring young lads from the Bootle and Merseyside area, give them a chance, build them up, and then if they want to move on to higher levels, like a lot have done, then that's what we do. So I done the resis, and then obviously that was done that for the season, and then the following season in December, the committee decided to sack Neil, and he asked me if I would take the job, so I did.
And how did that go? Sort of in the early days, was it pretty successful?
No, it was tough. It was really tough because, you know, without speaking out of turn, part of the problem that I inherited was that we had a really, really good bunch of older players that sort of either were getting a little bit too old or lost interest because
the hunger.
Well, not the hunger. It was more to do with the fact that they were getting shifted out. So like a few of them were close. I mean, a few of them, if it wasn't Bootle, I think some of them would have left. Do you know what I mean? So, and then within 3 or 4 months, obviously we lost Dean Porter to the Witten, who like the season before had got every single Player of the Year award. So he was a big, that was a big gap to fill. And obviously, the likes of Queenie, obviously one of our best ever players. Tyson had gone, and then came back. Jamie A obviously was still there, still really good, but getting a little bit older. Docker the same, getting a little bit older than that. But so, and then what we had was like a young bunch of players then coming through Bozzy's youth team basically. The likes of Billy Smart, Grant Pruden made the first team. Joel Powell was in it. Steoy, he got into the resis. So like through that way. So it was a real mix between older, more experienced players and youth. And at the time, the finances of the club weren't great. So and we were already 10th when I took over. So building that transition from sort of a team that was sort of struggling a bit into like putting them back in the top 4, top 5 was tough at first, yeah.
This sounds pretty sort of familiar if we wind a clock back to September, October, when you came back after Phil Stafford left. And obviously the group of players at that time, for one or whatever reason, weren't producing. And again, it was sort of ripping it up and starting from scratch, isn't it? And getting new players in. And the vital thing, as you say, is getting them young lads coming through. And that's in the squad now. You look at Cam Grant, and Tom Williams, and Johnny Foy, and Michael Carberry. They're only 19, 20, 21, sort of. Jack Goodwin as well, we shouldn't forget.
Yeah, well, as I said before, I mean, it's got to be the basis of any club that's in an area like we are, Liverpool, when we've got such a hotbed of young talent and old talent coming through, that it's the football club's duty and mine as a manager to give those young players a platform to play on. And I think that's always been the ambition of the club from like a committee point of view to do that. And then obviously last season, obviously before, sort of we had a good run, didn't we, where we finished second. 2016,
it was more
17. 2016, 17.
That,
and then obviously my personal life changed a bit, and obviously I stepped down, and then obviously Phil took over, and then obviously he resigned. So the original plan was sort of just to come back for 2 or 3 games,
but the bug got you again.
Steady the ship. I mean, the bug never left me. The only thing was that when I went back and spoke to my wife, she agreed with me, because I think she found me.
She wanted you out the house, basically.
I think she found me more restless and impatient and like intolerable when I wasn't managing. So yeah, I think as soon as I went back and said, I told the committee I'm going to do 3 games until they find a replacement. And I'll be dead honest with you. I spoke to all the players and asked them straight. I said, listen, once I spoke to my wife and she'd said I'm okay with it. I basically spoke to all the players, every single one, and said I'm happy to come back as long as you're. As long as you're
committed.
As long as you're ready to commit.
Yeah.
What you need to do to put the club back where it was. And I think I'd done that after the Prescott Cables game, if I'm being honest, when we got absolutely thrashed. And obviously we've been beat by Cheadle as well, which was sort of, and Bearscough, which was sort of watershed moments where I thought, actually, these lads need to either start putting it in and do it a bit, or it's time to go a different route. And to be fair to them, they were absolutely brilliant from that moment on. They were absolutely brilliant. They listened to every said, became engaged in how we were going to approach games, and giving me ideas and talking about the best way to approach games, and a total different side, the responsibility of everyone last season, when I basically put it on the toes and said, we need to sort this out, otherwise there'll be another manager coming in, and I can't guarantee you'll still be here. Yeah. They sort of, they pulled the tripod, to be fair, and the run that they went on. I mean, don't want to bang on about it too much, obviously, because we got.
No, but I think
it
was disappointing the way it ended. But you mentioned a couple of bad games there, but the run was phenomenal. It wasn't just 23 games undefeated. It was 23 wins, which is it's only 20 wasn't it? 23 sounds better.
It just sounds like 21. No, got a different figure there.
Yeah,
factually incorrect.
but 20 games is astonishing, and that takes some doing, and the lads, the confidence that the lads they had at the time. I mean, they took that into this season, haven't you? You can see them playing, getting back to that what they were last season now.
Yeah, I mean, and I think I think no one expected us to get anywhere near City Liverpool. I think most teams gave up on it, if I'm being honest. Gave up on the league.
We had no right, did we?
Yeah. We had no right, as Neil said, there was no right to get near them, did we? The
fact that we took it to the Bank Holiday Monday game, and basically they had to draw to win the game, and we beat them. And some people might say, we celebrated too much and all that, but basically, if we draw that game on the against City Liverpool, they win the league
here
at our ground.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So City Liverpool, good club, good side. We've got lots of time for Robbo, got lots of time for Paul Manning. They're just a bunch of people doing what they want, what they want to do in football, which I've not got a problem with. But at the end of the day,
we didn't want them in the league, yeah.
Well, yeah, you don't do, yeah.
No, of course not. No. So moving on to this season, the lads are in fine form at the minute. How do you think personally it's gone?
I think it's gone. To be honest, I don't think they're out of second gear yet. I think obviously the last 6 or 7 games we've played relatively well and had some tough games in it and won them, which has been pleasing. And we started scoring a few more goals, so much so that we scored the same as 1874 Norwich now in the league. But I think the start of the season, I think there was a bit more of a it was a bit more of a transition than what people think. I think obviously if you look at the squad from the start of the season compared to the squad now, there's been a lot of players that have come and gone, or were here already and now gone. So I think to maintain, early doors, there was some poor performances in there. Do you know what I mean? And I don't necessarily think that was all to do with the players. I think I had to sort of look at how we were setting up tactically. And I think obviously since October, we have set up a lot better. We've set ourselves up to win rather than to fail. But some of the first games of the season felt like we weren't set up to win. And another factor is that this season with 3 teams going up, every single team, like them first 10 games, they're all thinking we're only 3 points off top, we're only 5 points off top. So they want to win.
You're never really out of it.
No, you're never really out of it. And that, I don't think that'll stop. Obviously, the big plus for us over Christmas was that we won all 4 games. Do you know what I mean? And
excellent form, aren't we?
That sort of catapulted us up to the top of the chase and pack, because everyone else was sort of had a little slip up apart from 1874. We were a really good side. So yeah, I think overall, it's only January, isn't it? So I'll only judge this season come the 26th of April.
We have discussed it as well, though, Joe, haven't we? We had a conversation, I think it was the last away game, when we were talking about it. We were thinking we'd had a slow start and things like that, but you meant we were top of the league, weren't we?
Yeah, after 11 games.
After 11 games or something like that. And it was because of that. Was it the 21 game winning sequence?
Well, I think
that we
took. Obviously
you're expecting a little bit too much, aren't you? Then to start the season with new players.
And you've got to think about it in context as well. I'd say at least a quarter of those games we played in that 20 game run last season, we scored 1 goal and some of the teams packed in. Whereas in the first half, in the first 10 games, 11 games of this season, including the cups, everyone wanted to beat us. So like it was, we had Hanley coming in on the first day of the season, absolutely made up to get a draw. I think it was Hanley.
Last minute, yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously Skem the same. Obviously, I know Paul McNally well, and he was made up to get a point here. Or actually, probably felt like he should have won the game, but we rallied back. So I think the disappointment of losing out on the last game of the season, a little bit of transition or lack of transition, in the first couple of months, and also the fact that we were very stop-start as well. If you think about it, I know when we talked about that, saying about the slow start, the 11th game was something like the 25th of October, so it wasn't like August, September. Do you know what I mean? Because we'd had the cups, and also we'd had. I think we've suffered this season of teams that way because we got through in the Vars, because we were buying the Vars. We didn't play till the first round, which means on them Saturdays you haven't got a game. So which is a bit of a nightmare to get a bit of continuity going in the squad. And looking back, it might have been a bit too top heavy at the start of the season. But I think since October time, I think we've been a lot better. We've been a lot more focused, and I think the league's settled down a bit. So you can sort of obviously we came through the Christmas period, as I said, really well, with some great away wins and some good home wins. And I think what we've just got to do now is make sure that we stay at the top of that pack, whoever's chasing us, and hopefully see if 1874 Norwich can slip up.
And the hard thing is that it's a bigger pack this season, with what we've mentioned, the 3 going up, because with it usually 1, there's teams even in 7th, 8th position where they're thinking after Christmas they ain't getting near that first spot, so they'll fall away. And whereas there's 10 teams there who could all get up to 3 as we're looking at it now. So
completely agree. I mean, most seasons like on the running and that, I have like a little graph saying who's playing when. So when we were going with in 2017 when we finished second, I had a little graph of like the last 10 games saying like who dropped points where and stuff like that. This year I attempted to do it last week. You can't do it because there's too many teams in the running for the first spot. And all you need is someone to do what we've done. Put 7 wins on the bounce.
There's teams with games in hand everywhere, isn't there, as well? So
that's what we've got to do. Obviously, we're starting well. Obviously, the support's been fantastic from yourselves and people behind the goal, and like even towards the end of last season when like the gates started going up and that, it was absolutely brilliant. And if we could do that again this season, start getting more and more people down to watch the games and enjoy the facilities and that, I think we're in for a good second half of the season.
We've got 2 away games coming up. We will just mention for anyone listening who's never been down before, the next home game is the 1st of February against Ashton, isn't it?
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon. If you've never been to non-league, it's probably the best 5 you'll ever spend. You've heard from myself and Paul about our little bits around Bootle and how we got involved, but it's highly recommended, so bring yourself down. There's the bar there, great choice of beers, live football on before and after. So it's well worth it go. But just basically, as you say, we're over halfway sort of thing in the league tomorrow. We'll just touch on that very briefly. A trip down to Hanley, away games, we know it's tough. And tomorrow will be no different, will it?
No, Hanley are a good side. As I said, we drew with them on the first game of the season, but I mean, to be honest, the form we're in, we would go there. I'm assuming favourites, and I think if we go with the right attitude and play our football, what we can do, some of the good stuff that we play, then I think we should be good for a win.
You mentioned there about the supporters, about people coming down. That in the small time that I've been watching people, the crowds have really grown, and how important is it for the players to play in? Sure, they want to play in front of bigger crowds, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's just the whole atmosphere, the whole day. Obviously, that's a few years ago when people started congregating and buying flags and stuff like that and singing songs, and how it's moved on now with more people and a bit more of a diverse group in the books. It's been absolutely fantastic. I think from a club point of view, it's absolutely brilliant. I remember when our Frank was alive, he said to me, the day that I'll be happy is when we've got people singing Bootle FC songs. He said that to me, and I laughed at him, thinking you will never get anyone singing a Bootle FC song. But obviously that was my short-mindedness and narrow-mindedness. He believed it could be done, and that's exactly what's happened. I mean, you know, the way they come up with the songs and the players' reaction to the songs and the support you give the lads from behind the goal and that, it's absolutely brilliant. It's probably, I'd say that it's not my biggest achievement because I didn't do it, but to be manager of the team when we went from possibly 75, 80 people watching and standing independently, and even the most staunch committee member or Bootle FC fan, when Bootle scored, would give a silent
small round of applause, maybe.
A small round of applause, or a silent fist pump. Going from that to having your name sung after you've scored a goal, or your name sung when you're getting brought on as a sub or getting taken off a sub.
We won't talk about people running on the pitch or nothing like that, Joe. No,
you're not allowed to run on the pitch.
No.
But yeah, I mean, you know, that to me, apart from like the infrastructure changes, which have been massive and huge, and obviously accelerated a lot in the last 12 months. You know, with our revamped function room and our new Frank's bar, and the changes that we've got afoot in the future to even more revolutionise the club. It's really exciting from a manager's point of view. And I think, you know, what I would say to anyone who's interested in getting down and watching a bit of non-league or interested in Bootle itself or the surrounding areas is get down and give it a go and make yourself known. I think, you know, the big thing for me is like the community side of it. Whereas if you asked me 4 or 5 years ago who the Bootle FC community, you're talking like a handful of people in terms of 10 committee members, maybe 4 or 5 supporters, the players who play for the team and their family. Whereas now it's unreal, obviously with the Bootle Books and that as well, supporting us and the great work that, you know, they're doing. It's absolutely fantastic, and, you know, I just think that the club can go on from strength to strength, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, we had full coach last week to Congleton, and same again I think to Hanley tomorrow. Just we briefly mentioned there about the changes in the club, and you know, we don't want to predict the future, and it's hard to predict the future, but do you see that carrying on, and where could this club be in 5 years' time?
I think to be honest, at the moment, you know, if you're asking me with my manager's head on, I'm not really thinking about a 5-year plan. My main target for this season is to finish as high up as possible to ensure that we get promoted. And then once we do that, I'll then start looking at, you know, from a manager point of view, start re-evaluating it and see where we go from there. But if you're asking me from a club point of view, obviously being involved with the club for many years, I think there's no reason, you know, with me as manager or with someone else as manager, there's no reason why this club in 5 years' time can't be competing at the top end of the Evo stick, First Division North. And then obviously once you establish yourself in that league, then, you know, you can sort of build from there.
Brilliant. Well, it's been a pleasure having Joe on. Remember, if anyone does want to get in contact with us, we are on Twitter and YouTube channels at Bootle Books TV. This has been our first go at this. I've really enjoyed it. Paul, you enjoyed it?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Joe.
Thanks for having me on. And we'll speak to after tomorrow's game, and we'll do the same again in a few weeks with other guests. But thanks for listening, and up the Bucks.